Hi, I'm Caleb,
And I'm Jeremy.
and this is binary search. A couple things to take note of before we start getting into binary search is that your list needs to be sorted before we start. Once we do have a sorted list, the first step is to determine what your midpoint is and then split your list at your midpoint by determining if your target number is greater than or less than your midpoint. If your target number is your midpoint, we'll get to that later. But if your target number is less than, you get rid of everything greater than, and if your target number is greater than, you get everything less than. And you repeat this process until you have found your target number.
Now let's talk about the time complexity of binary search. In your absolute best case scenario, represented by omega, the time complexity is 1. In your average case scenario, represented by theta, it is log n. In the worst case scenario, represented by the big O, your time complexity is also log n. And when there's a space involved, the time complexity is 1.
Now it's time for an example.
Our best case scenario would be if the midpoint is our designated number. Our worst case scenario would be the last number that would be checked. For example, in this one, it would be 42 and 4, 13, and 18. In our average case would be any other number.
So now we're going to just choose a random number, let's say 12, which is in our average case category. What we would do first is we would determine the midpoint, which is 16. Then we would ask ourselves, is our target number greater than or less than 16? In this case, it is less than. So these 5 cups no longer are needed. So we are only focused on these 4. Then we would repeat the same thing and divide the array down the middle. And now we have 2 lists, and we ask ourselves again, is our target number greater than or less than our midpoint? In this case, it would be greater than. So now we have the 2 numbers here. We do the same thing and ask, is it greater than or less than? And since it's less than, we would have 12. And then we would ask one more time, if the midpoint is the target number, which it is now, then you've found your number. Thank you for joining us.
And this has been binary search.
That's all, folks.